When you post out a file for Apex 60 using the height setter, you might get a warning about potential height setter collisions. And what we're looking for is areas where the height setter might come down within a specified radius around a prior pierce point. If we're doing a countersink like this, normally we're going to height set and do the vertical cut first, and then come back just using programmable Z for the bevel cut. However, if you change things around, or like I've done, apply a height set attribute on the bevel cut to force it to do a height set, then you can get it into a situation where the height setter would want to come down on an area where there's not going to be any material, because the slug will probably have dropped into the tank. So we want to, of course, avoid that, and that's what this warning message is that you can potentially get. So here it warns us potential height setter crash, and of course it's going to cut that vertical cut first, and then because I applied a height set attribute on the second cut, it comes back, wants to do a height set there, and because that height set is within a ½ inch radius of a prior pierce point, then it gives us that warning about the potential height setter crash. So normally good practice, if you are doing something like this, to do your lead-ins for the vertical cuts very close to where you'll be doing the lead-in for the countersink, and then normally it'll do the height set on the first vertical cut, and then use programmable Z for the bevel cut. If you do a technique like this, which wouldn't be recommended, you've got your lead-in for the vertical cut over here, and then you've got a fairly long distance over to where it's going to do the bevel cut, so there's the potential that the height setter might want to then be triggered, and then you're not going to have any material there, so beware of that. This is an area where this could fail. So here we get no warning about any issues because the height setter is beyond that ½ inch radius from that prior pierce point. Now if you have a nest like this, if we go ahead and process this one, so I got my cut stamp distance set to 6 inches, and I've got this warning of half a dozen potential height setter crashes. And we can scroll down towards the end, click on basically last cut, and you can see we've got a pierce point here and then a height set here. So that's one of the potential areas. Now you can look at that and be like, okay, that's not going to be an issue. So you can not be too concerned about that. But one thing you can do is there's an app that I've written that allows you to basically overlay those potential height setter crash points, so you can look through very easily and see if there's any issues. So this is an app that may already be in your shared folder. If you go to apps and click on load app and then click on this add button, it'll bring you into the app folder on your shared folder, and there should be a file in there called HS crash indicator. If it's not there, then you can go to our Ikulu wiki page, so ikulu.waterjet.com, and then in your search bar over here, top right hand corner, just start typing in IGEMS, just letter I'd click on IGEMS. That'll bring you to this page. You can scroll down to here, got the height setter crash indicator, click on that, and you can download this Lisp file that'll go into that apps folder. And then if you want, you can also download this little PNG for icon onto the toolbar. So let's go ahead and add that app, and let's add that image. And okay. So if you run this app, it'll basically first ask your origin point, so where you got your 0, point on your sheet, so you can left click there, and then it'll just show the XY coordinates of where those height setter warnings were from that file, and it'll draw circles where those locations are. And then it may be easier at this point now if you go back in and do the 2D simulation. to then overlay this. And again, if we scroll towards the end here, so then you can look and see, all right, so there's one. So yeah, so we've got a pierce here, height set there, but not an issue. And then you can very easily go through and see if there's any real issues to be concerned about, which there wouldn't be in this scenario. And finally, if you want to change that radius that it looks around for those potential height setter crashes, that is on this other stamping distances tab. And you've got this field here. So if you set to 0, then it would only warn you if there was a height setter that was directly on top of a prior pierce point. Or if you set for a big number, you'll get lots of warnings because it'll be looking at a much larger radius. If you have any questions on that, let me know. Thanks.